Chief Warrant Officer Sarah Mitchell, retired, pushed through the glass doors of Iron Path Fitness in Virginia Beach, Virginia. It was 600 on a Tuesday morning, and the gym was already filling up with the early crowd. Military personnel from the nearby naval base, local construction workers, retirees trying to stay healthy. Sarah was 38 years old, fit but not in the way she used to be. Her left leg had a slight limp, noticeable if you were paying attention. Her right hand trembled sometimes when she was tired. And the scars, well, the scars told stories she didn't like to talk about. She signed in at the front desk and headed to the weights section. She had been coming to this gym for 3 months, ever since moving to Virginia Beach to be closer to the VA hospital. Most people left her alone, which was how she liked it. But today was different. Sarah was setting up for bench press when she heard the voices behind her. "Check out the tattoo on that chick." She knew without looking that they were talking about her. The tattoo on her right forearm was visible when she wore a tank top, a Navy SEAL trident, the eagle clutching an anchor, trident, and flintlock pistol. It was distinctive, unmistakable. Is that a SEAL trident? Seriously? Sarah kept setting up her weights, ignoring them. Probably one of those fake military girls, you know the type, gets a tattoo to look cool. The voices belonged to 3 men in their mid-20s, all fit, all wearing shirts that advertised their veteran status. One had Marine Veteran written across his chest. Another had tactical pants and a grunt-style shirt. Sarah started her set, focusing on her form, blocking them out. "Hey, sweetheart," one of them called out. "Where'd you get that ink?" Sarah finished her rep, racked the weight, and sat up. "Excuse me." The one with the Marine shirt stepped closer. He was about 6 feet tall, muscular, with a crew cut and an attitude. His name tag at the front desk had read BRENNAN. "Your tattoo, the SEAL trident, where'd you get it?" "A tattoo shop." "Funny, you know what that symbol means." "I do." Brennan crossed his arms. "See, I'm thinking you don't, because women can't be SEALs, that's a fact. And people who wear symbols they didn't earn, that's called stolen valor. That's offensive to those of us who actually served." Sarah stood up slowly. She was 5'7", athletic but not intimidating in size. "I'm aware of what stolen valor is." "So you admit you didn't earn that tattoo?" "I didn't say that." One of Brennan's friends laughed. "Oh, this should be good. What you gonna tell us you're secretly a Navy SEAL, that you went through Bud-S training?" "No," Sarah said calmly, "I'm not a SEAL." "Then take that tattoo off your arm. It's disrespectful." Sarah felt the familiar anger building in her chest, but she kept her voice level. "I have every right to this tattoo." "Really? What branch did you even serve in?" "Navy." "Doing what administration? Supply?" "I was a pilot." That brought more laughter. A pilot, and somehow that gives you the right to wear the SEAL trident. Sarah picked up her water bottle. "I don't owe you an explanation." "Actually, you do. See, my brother is a SEAL. And when I see some woman wearing his symbol like it's a fashion statement, yeah, I'm going to call it out." A small crowd was gathering now, other gym members curious about the confrontation. Sarah could feel their eyes on her, could hear the whispers. "She's probably lying. Why would she wear that if she didn't earn it? Looks like stolen valor to me." The gym manager, a retired Army sergeant named Williams, pushed through the crowd. "What's going on here?" "This woman is wearing a SEAL trident tattoo," Brennan said. "She admits she's not a SEAL. That's stolen valor, and I want her kicked out of this gym." Williams looked at Sarah. "Ma'am, is that true? You're wearing military insignia you didn't earn." Sarah felt the weight of everyone's judgment. This was exactly why she didn't talk about her service. People never believed her. They saw a woman, saw the tattoo, and made assumptions. "I earned this tattoo," Sarah said quietly. "I earned it through service and sacrifice, but I don't have to prove that to any of you." "Actually, you do," Brennan pushed. "If you can't explain how you earned it, then it's stolen valor, simple as that." Sarah looked him in the eye. "I was a Navy helicopter pilot. I flew MH-60S Seahawks. I did 6 combat deployments supporting SEAL operations. This tattoo was given to me by the SEAL team I flew for, so yes, I earned it." "Bull," one of Brennan's friends said. "SEALs don't just give out their trident to anyone." "They do when you save their lives," Sarah said, her voice harder now. The crowd went quiet. Brennan studied her skeptically. You're saying you saved SEALs. I'm saying I did my job, and part of that job was getting them in and out of hostile territory. Sometimes things went wrong. When they did, I was there. Still doesn't explain why they'd give you the trident. That's their sacred symbol. Sarah's hand trembled slightly. She clenched it into a fist. I don't have to explain anything to you. My service is my own. This tattoo is my own, and unless you were there, you don't get to judge it. Williams looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, I don't want to call the police, but if there's a question of stolen valor. There's no question, Sarah said firmly. I served honorably. I was medically retired with full benefits. My record speaks for itself. Then show us proof, Brennan demanded. Show us your DD-214. Show us something that proves you're not just some wannabe. Sarah felt her heart racing. The room felt too small, too hot. She could feel panic starting to creep in, the same panic that hit her sometimes when she was overwhelmed, when the memories got too close. I don't carry my military records to the gym, she said, her voice tight. Convenient. Look, I don't want trouble. I just want to work out and be left alone. And I don't want to share a gym with someone who's disrespecting my brother's service. So either prove you earned that tattoo or cover it up. Sarah grabbed her bag. I'm leaving. Yeah, run away. That's what liars do. Sarah walked toward the exit, her limp more pronounced now because she was moving fast, because the stress made everything hurt more. Behind her, she could hear the whispers, the laughter, the judgment. She made it to her truck before the tears came. 20 years of service, 6 deployments, a career ended by injuries sustained while saving lives, and it all meant nothing to people like Brennan because she was a woman with a tattoo they didn't think she deserved. Sarah sat in her truck for 10 minutes trying to calm down, trying to breathe. The panic attack passed slowly, leaving her exhausted. She drove home to her small apartment, climbed the stairs with difficulty, and locked the door behind her. On her coffee table was a box she hadn't opened in months. Inside were her medals, her service records, photographs from her deployments. And letters from the SEALs she had flown for, letters from the families of men she had saved. Letters from the team that had given her the tattoo, thanking her for her service, for her sacrifice. She didn't need to prove herself to Brennan or anyone else. But a part of her, the part that still felt like a soldier, that still believed in honor and respect, wanted the truth to be known. 3 days later, Sarah returned to the gym. She had thought about switching to a different one, but that felt like running away. She had never run from a fight, and she wasn't going to start now. Brennan and his friends were there, working out in the free weights section. When Brennan saw her, he nudged his friends and pointed. Sarah ignored them and started her workout. But halfway through, the gym's front door opened and a group of men entered. They were older, in their 40s and 50s, all with the bearing of career military. They wore civilian clothes, but there was no mistaking what they were. One of them, a tall man with gray hair and intense eyes, scanned the gym. When his gaze landed on Sarah, he went still. Then he started walking toward her. Sarah looked up and froze. Standing before her was Commander Robert Mitchell. No relation despite the shared last name, but she knew him very well. He was the SEAL team commander she had flown for in Afghanistan, the man whose team had given her the tattoo. And he was looking at her like he'd seen a ghost. 6 years earlier, Helmand Province, Afghanistan. Chief Warrant Officer Sarah Mitchell brought her MH-60S Seahawk helicopter in low over the desert, skimming just above the rocky terrain. In the back, 8 Navy SEALs sat ready, weapons across their laps, faces painted, focused. 2 minutes to LZ, Sarah said over the comms. Her co-pilot, Lieutenant Jake Morrison, worked the instruments beside her. Roger that, came the voice of Commander Robert Mitchell, the SEAL team leader. Looking good from back here, Sky. Sky was Sarah's call sign, short for Skywalker, because she could fly through conditions that would ground most pilots. She'd earned that call sign on her first deployment, threading her helicopter through a sandstorm to extract wounded Marines. Sarah had been flying combat missions for 8 years. She was one of only a handful of female helicopter pilots supporting special operations, and she was among the best. Her record was spotless, her skills undeniable. But she still faced doubts, still heard the whispers that she only got the assignment because of diversity quotas, still had to prove herself every single mission. The landing zone came into view, a small clearing surrounded by compounds in a Taliban-controlled area. The SEALs were going in to capture or kill a high-value target, a Taliban commander responsible for dozens of IED attacks. "LZ is hot," Morrison said, scanning the instruments. "I'm reading multiple heat signatures." "Expected," Mitchell said from the back. "They know we're coming. Fast in, fast out. Sky will need immediate extract capability. Don't go far." "Roger, I'll be in orbit 3 clicks out." Sarah brought the helicopter down with perfect precision, the wheels barely touching before the SEALs were out and moving. 8 seconds from touchdown to wheels up. Textbook. She pulled the helicopter up and away, gaining altitude and distance. Behind her, the crew chief, Petty Officer Marcus Hayes, manned the M240 machine gun, watching for threats. "Bird away," Sarah reported to the command center. "Package delivered." "Copy, Sky. Stand by for extract." The mission was supposed to take 20 minutes. The SEALs would breach the compound, clear the target, and call for immediate extraction. But at minute 8, everything went wrong. "Contact, heavy fire from multiple positions." Mitchell's voice came through, sharp but controlled. "We're pinned down." Sarah's heart rate jumped, but her hand stayed steady on the controls. "Say your status." 3 wounded, can't move to primary LZ, too hot." "Copy, give me alternate coordinates." "Working on it, stand by." The next 3 minutes felt like hours. Sarah orbited at a safe distance, listening to the sounds of gunfire and explosions over the radio. Morrison was calculating fuel, checking systems, ready to go the moment they were called. "Sky, this is Mitchell. We need immediate extract, sending coordinates now." Sarah looked at the coordinates on her display and felt her stomach drop. The alternate LZ was in the middle of an open field, surrounded by buildings, completely exposed. "Commander, that LZ is a kill zone. We'll be sitting ducks." "I know, but we're out of options. Jensen's hit bad. He's got maybe 10 minutes before he bleeds out. We can't carry him through this terrain fast enough to make the primary LZ." Sarah looked at Morrison. Her co-pilot shook his head slightly. "We go in there, we might not come out." Sarah made the decision in a heartbeat. "Mitchell, we're inbound, pop smoke." "You're a lifesaver, Sky, green smoke." Sarah banked the helicopter hard and headed toward the coordinates. In the back, Hayes checked his machine gun and said a quiet prayer. "Sky Command is advising against this approach," the operations center radioed. "Too much risk." "Roger that, Command, but we've got SEALs down. I'm going in." "Your call, pilot. Good luck." Sarah pushed the helicopter low and fast, using every bit of terrain for cover. In the distance, she could see green smoke rising from the field. She could also see muzzle flashes from at least a dozen positions. The Taliban had the field surrounded. "Hayes, you're going to be busy," Sarah said. "Yes, ma'am, I'm ready." Sarah brought the helicopter in at a steep angle, flaring hard at the last second to bleed off speed. Bullets began hitting the aircraft immediately. The windscreen cracked. Alarms started going off. "Taking fire," Morrison called out. "I know, Hayes, light them up." The crew chief opened fire with the M240, putting suppressive fire on the enemy positions. The noise was deafening. Sarah got the helicopter on the ground. Through the dust, she could see the SEALs running toward them. 6 men, 2 of them carrying a third on a stretcher. Come on," Sarah muttered. More bullets struck the helicopter. One punched through the cockpit and missed Morrison's head by inches. "We're hit," Morrison shouted. "Hydraulics failing." Sarah felt the controls go mushy. One of the hydraulic systems was out, making the helicopter harder to control. The SEALs reached the bird. They loaded the wounded man first, Petty Officer First Class David Jensen, barely conscious, blood soaking through the bandages on his leg and chest. "He needs immediate medical," one of the SEALs shouted. "I'll get him there," Sarah shouted back. "Everyone on." "Go, go, go." Sarah pulled power, trying to get the heavy helicopter off the ground. The remaining hydraulic system screamed in protest. The helicopter lifted, sluggish and unstable. Then an RPG hit the tail rotor. The explosion was massive. The helicopter spun violently. Sarah fought the controls, trying to maintain altitude, trying to keep them in the air. "Tail rotor's gone," Morrison yelled. "We're going down." "Not if I can help it." Sarah killed the throttle and used the spinning momentum to aim for a clearing 50 yards away. It wasn't a landing, it was a controlled crash. The helicopter hit hard, the landing gear collapsed, metal screamed. Sarah's head slammed against her helmet and she saw stars. When the world stopped spinning, she took inventory. She was alive. Morrison was alive, blood running down his face from a cut above his eye. Hayes was calling out status from the back. "Everyone okay back there?" Sarah called. Mitchell appeared beside her window. "We're good, but we need to move. They'll be coming." Sarah tried to unbuckle, but her hands wouldn't work right. Looking down, she saw blood, her own blood, spreading across her flight suit. Something had pierced her side during the crash. "I'm hit," she said, surprised by how calm she sounded. Mitchell was already pulling her door open. "We've got you. Morrison, can you walk?" "Yeah, I'm good." The SEALs pulled Sarah from the wreckage. The pain hit then, white-hot and overwhelming. She screamed. "I know it hurts," Mitchell said, "but we have to move. Can you walk?" "I'll try." They ran or tried to. Sarah stumbled, barely able to stay upright. Two SEALs supported her, half carrying her toward the cover of some nearby buildings. Behind them, Taliban fighters were closing in. "Set up defensive positions," Mitchell ordered. "Call for QRF. Quick reaction force, backup." But Sarah knew it would take at least 30 minutes for them to arrive. They might not have 30 minutes. The SEALs set up a perimeter in a half-collapsed building. Sarah was laid next to Jensen, both of them bleeding, both fatting in and out of consciousness. A SEAL medic, a quiet guy named Tors, worked on both of them simultaneously, trying to stop the bleeding, trying to keep them alive. "Stay with me, Sky," Tors kept saying. "You saved us, now I'm going to save you." The firefight outside was intense. Sarah could hear the crack of rifles, the boom of grenades. The SEALs were outnumbered, but they were the best fighters in the world. And they were fighting for each other. Sarah faded out, then came back to the sound of helicopters. The QRF had arrived, more gunfire, then Mitchell's face above her. "You did it, Sky. You got us out. You saved Jensen's life, now let's get you home." Sarah tried to speak, but the world went dark. Sarah woke up in a hospital at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany. Her side was bandaged, her head hurt, and every breath felt like broken glass. But she was alive. A nurse noticed her eyes open. "Welcome back, Chief. You've been out for 2 days." "My crew." "Morrison is fine. Couple stitches, mild concussion. Hayes, too. You're the one who took the worst of it." "The SEALs." The nurse smiled. "They're all fine. In fact, they've been here every day checking on you. There's a Commander Mitchell who's been particularly persistent." Over the next week, as Sarah recovered, the story came out. Jensen had survived, though he'd lost his leg. The mission had been a success. The Taliban commander had been killed, and valuable intelligence had been recovered. But the real story was Sarah's flying. She had brought a heavily loaded helicopter into a hot landing zone under fire. When the bird was hit, she had crash-landed it in a way that saved everyone on board. Then she had fought through her own injuries to get to cover. The SEALs didn't forget things like that. Commander Mitchell visited her in the hospital, bringing his entire team. "Sky," he said, sitting beside her bed, "we owe you our lives, all of us. If you hadn't come in when you did, Jensen would be dead, probably several of us." "I was just doing my job, sir." "You went above and beyond. You risked your life for us. That's not just doing your job. That's heroism." Tors, the medic who had kept her alive during the firefight, stepped forward. "We want to do something for you, something to show our respect and gratitude." He held out a small box. Inside was a gold Navy SEAL trident pin. "This is for you," Tors said. "You're not a SEAL, but you've earned the right to wear this. You showed courage and skill under fire. You saved your brothers. That makes you one of us." Sarah felt tears sting her eyes. "I can't accept this. This is yours. This is sacred." "Which is why we're giving it to you," Mitchell said. "With the full support of our entire team, you've earned it." Sarah took the pin with shaking hands. "I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything. Just know that you'll always be part of this team. Always." A few weeks later, back at her home base, Sarah was presented with the Distinguished Flying Cross for her actions that day. The citation read, "For extraordinary achievement while participating in aerial flight in support of Special Operations Forces in a hostile fire zone." But the medal that meant the most to her was the SEAL Trident. She had it tattooed on her forearm a month later, not to show off, but to remember. To honor the men she'd served with, the mission that had nearly killed her, and the bond that had been forged that day. But Sarah's career didn't last much longer. The injuries from the crash were more serious than initially thought. Her back was damaged, her hand had nerve damage, her leg had been fractured in 3 places. She spent a year in physical therapy, fighting to get back to flight status. But the flight surgeon was clear. She would never pass the physical requirements again. At 33 years old, with 14 years of service, Sarah was medically retired. It broke her heart. Being a pilot wasn't just her job, it was her identity. The sky was where she belonged, and now it was taken from her. The SEALs she'd saved stayed in touch. They invited her to reunions, checked on her, made sure she knew she was still part of their family. But Sarah struggled. She moved frequently, trying to find a place that felt like home. She dealt with PTSD, with chronic pain, with the loss of purpose that came when the military was no longer part of her life. The tattoo remained, a reminder of who she had been, what she had done. Sometimes it gave her strength, other times it made the loss hurt more. She never told anyone the story behind it, because when she did try to explain, people didn't believe her. A woman who flew helicopters for SEALs, who crashed behind enemy lines and survived, who was given a SEAL Trident. It sounded like a fantasy. So she stopped explaining. She wore the tattoo, carried the memories, and tried to move forward. Until the day at the gym when Brennan challenged her, when the anger and judgment made all the old wounds feel fresh again. And now, 6 years after that mission in Afghanistan, Commander Robert Mitchell was standing in front of her at Iron Path Fitness, looking at her like he'd found something precious that he thought was lost forever. Sarah, Commander Mitchell's voice was softer now, uncertain. Sarah Mitchell, Sky. Sarah stood up slowly, her heart pounding. Commander Mitchell. My God, I've been looking for you for 2 years. You disappeared. Nobody knew where you went. I needed some space to figure out life after the Navy. Mitchell looked at her, really looked at her. He saw the limp, the scars on her arms, the way she held herself like someone who'd been through hell and survived it. You look good, he said, though his eyes said he knew she'd been struggling. You too, sir. The gym had gone quiet. Everyone was watching this exchange, trying to figure out what was happening. Brennan stepped forward. You know this woman. Mitchell turned to look at him. His expression went cold. I don't know you, but yes, I know Chief Warrant Officer Sarah Mitchell. She's one of the finest pilots I've ever served with. She's been claiming she flew for SEALs, that she saved your lives. Claiming? Mitchell's voice dropped to a dangerous quiet. She didn't claim anything, she did it. October 17, 2017, Helmand Province. She flew into a hot LZ under heavy fire to extract my team. When her bird was hit, she crash-landed it and saved every life on board, including mine. The room was dead silent now. Brennan looked uncertain. But the tattoo, she's wearing a SEAL Trident, that's... That tattoo was given to her by me and my entire team, Mitchell interrupted. Because she earned it, because she bled for us, because she's a warrior who deserves every bit of respect that symbol represents. He turned back to Sarah. I didn't know you'd had it tattooed. That's an honor, Sky, thank you. Sarah felt emotion choking her throat. It was the proudest moment of my service, sir. I wanted to carry it with me always. Mitchell reached into his pocket and pulled out a coin, a challenge coin with the SEAL Trident on it. I still carry one of these for you. I've kept it for 6 years, hoping I'd find you and give it to you in person. It's from Jensen. He wanted you to have it. He's alive because of you. He's got a wife now, 2 kids. He thinks about you every day. How is he? He's good, prosthetic leg, but he's good. He became a motivational speaker, tells his story to wounded veterans, always mentions the pilot who wouldn't leave him behind. Sarah took the coin with shaking hands. On one side was the SEAL Trident. On the other, engraved words, to Sky who flew through hell to bring us home, Semper Fi Jensen. He's a Marine at heart, Mitchell said with a small smile, but the sentiment is real. Sarah couldn't hold back the tears anymore. They came in a rush, 6 years of pain and loss and feeling forgotten. Mitchell did something then that shocked everyone in the gym. He came to attention and rendered a sharp, crisp salute. Chief Warrant Officer Sarah Mitchell, it is my honor to salute you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for being the warrior we needed when we needed you most. The other men who had entered with Mitchell, all SEALs, Sarah realized now, came to attention and saluted as well. The room was frozen. Every person in the gym stood motionless, watching this moment. Then slowly others began to stand. The gym manager, Williams, came to attention and saluted. A few other veterans in the crowd did the same. Even Brennan, looking ashamed and confused, stood and saluted. Sarah, tears streaming down her face, returned the salute. Thank you, sir. It was my honor to serve with you. Mitchell dropped his salute and pulled Sarah into a hug. We've missed you, Sky. The team has missed you. Why didn't you stay in touch? I felt like I didn't belong anymore, like I was broken, like that part of my life was over. You're not broken. You're a warrior who got wounded in service to your country, and you'll always belong with us. Always. One of the other SEALs stepped forward towards the medic who had saved her life. Sky, we've been trying to find you because we're having a reunion next month. The whole team from that deployment. Everyone wants to see you. Will you come? I don't know if I can. You can, Mitchell said firmly. And you will because you're family, and family doesn't disappear on each other. Brennan approached slowly, looking humbled. Ma'am, I owe you an apology, a major apology. I judged you without knowing your story. I was disrespectful and wrong. I'm sorry. Sarah looked at him. Part of her wanted to stay angry, but she'd been carrying anger for too long. Apology accepted. Just learn from this. Don't assume you know someone's story just by looking at them. I will, I promise. Brennan hesitated. My brother is a SEAL. He's deployed right now. If someone like you is looking out for him, making sure he gets home safe, I can't thank you enough for what you do, what you did. Sarah nodded. Tell him to stay safe, and tell him his sister thanks him for his service. Brother, Brennan corrected. He's my brother. Right, sorry. Mitchell turned to address the entire gym. I want everyone here to understand something. This woman is a hero. She risked her life to save my team. She was wounded in combat, medically retired, and she deserves the respect and gratitude of every person in this country. If any of you ever question her service again, you'll answer to me. Are we clear? A chorus of yes, sir, and absolutely came from the crowd. Williams, the gym manager, stepped forward. Ma'am, you have a lifetime free membership to this gym, and Commander, you and your men are welcome here anytime. Appreciated, Mitchell said. As the crowd dispersed, still buzzing with what they'd witnessed, Mitchell's team gathered around Sarah. We need to catch up, Torres said. Properly, let me buy you breakfast. I'd like that. They left the gym together, Sarah surrounded by the SEALs she'd saved, treated with the respect she'd earned but had been denied for so long. At the diner down the street, over coffee and eggs, Sarah told them about her struggles since leaving the Navy. The chronic pain, the PTSD, the difficulty finding purpose. You know we're here for you, right? Mitchell said. Whatever you need, job, housing, just someone to talk to, we take care of our own. I don't want charity. It's not charity, it's family, let us help. Sarah looked around the table at these men, warriors who had faced death together, who had saved each other's lives, who understood sacrifice and loss. Okay, she said quietly, I could use some help. Over the next few months, Sarah's life changed. The SEAL community rallied around her. Mitchell helped her get a job with a defense contractor, consulting on helicopter operations. Torres connected her with a better VA therapist who actually understood combat trauma. And she attended the reunion. Walking into that room full of SEALs and their families was terrifying. But the moment she entered, the entire room stood. They applauded. They cheered. Jensen was there, walking on his prosthetic leg, tears streaming down his face. He hugged Sarah so hard she thought her ribs might crack. You saved my life, he said. You saved all of us. I've wanted to thank you in person for 6 years. You don't need to thank me. I was just doing my job. No, you went above and beyond. You're a hero, and I want to make sure everyone knows it. At the reunion, Sarah met the wives and children of the men she'd saved. They thanked her, cried with her, told her she was part of their family now. And Sarah realized something she'd forgot during her years of isolation and pain. She wasn't alone, she never had been. The tattoo on her arm wasn't just a memory of one mission. It was a symbol of belonging, of brotherhood, of a bond forged in fire that would never break. 3 months later, Sarah stood in front of a high school auditorium in Virginia Beach. She'd been invited to speak to students about military service, about overcoming adversity, about never giving up. She was terrified. Public speaking wasn't her thing, but Mitchell had encouraged her and she'd agreed. She walked to the podium, looked out at hundreds of young faces, and began. "My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm a retired Navy helicopter pilot, and I want to tell you about the day I learned what courage really means." She told them about the mission, about flying into danger to save lives, about the crash, the firefight, the injuries. But she also told them about what came after, about struggling with purpose, about being judged and dismissed, about feeling lost. "I have a tattoo," she said, rolling up her sleeve to show them. "It's a SEAL trident. I'm not a SEAL. I'm a woman who flew helicopters, but I was given this symbol by men who trusted me with their lives. It reminds me that I did something that mattered, that I made a difference." She paused. "But I want you to understand something. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being scared and doing the right thing anyway. I was terrified during that mission. I'm terrified right now standing in front of you. But I'm here because someone believed in me, because people supported me, because I refused to give up. Whatever you face in life, whatever challenges, whatever doubts, whatever pain, remember that you're stronger than you think, that you matter, that your story isn't over until you say it is." The students gave her a standing ovation. Afterward, a young girl approached her, maybe 16, quiet, uncertain. "Ma'am, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "I want to join the military, but my parents say girls shouldn't serve, that it's too dangerous. Did you ever regret it?" Sarah looked at this girl and saw herself at that age. "I regret nothing," she said firmly. "Service is hard, it's dangerous. It will test you in ways you can't imagine. But it will also show you what you're capable of. It will give you purpose, pride, and a family that will stand by you forever." "Were you scared?" "Every day, but I did it anyway. And you can too if it's what you want." The girl smiled. "Thank you, I needed to hear that." As Sarah left the school that day, she thought about how far she'd come. From the broken, isolated woman in the gym to someone who could inspire others. The tattoo on her arm had started as a symbol of one moment in time, but it had become something more. It was proof that she had faced the impossible and survived. That she had been underestimated and proven everyone wrong. That she had earned the respect of warriors. And that her story, her sacrifice, her courage, her truth would never be forgotten. The laughter at the tattoo had frozen midair when the SEAL commander saluted. And in that moment, Sarah Mitchell had reclaimed her identity, her pride, and her place among heroes. She was Sky, and she would fly again. Not in helicopters, but in the hearts and minds of everyone she inspired. That was her new mission. And she would succeed. Because she always had.